So this really cool creature is a ground hornbill. Found entirely in Africa, the southern ground hornbill is the largest of the hornbills. The fun fact is that the southern ground hornbill is actually sexually dimorphic, the males looking differently than the females, slightly. If you look right here, this is what an adult looks like. Look at this little sack right here. This is completely red. If you look at a female, they have a little bit of bluish tone. Gosh, I can't talk. And they're considered to be one of the big 6 bird species you can find in southern Africa. With the males being larger than the females, these guys are pretty ginormous, as I said earlier. Able to go from tip to tail here about 4 feet, potentially. These big guys right here are apex predators, and thus incredibly ecologically important, foraging the grounds, often eating small reptiles, frogs, snails, etc., even small mammals. Additionally, the southern ground hornbill doesn't really drink a ton. In fact, it gets most of its hydration from its food. Like I said, these guys are apex predators, ecologically important creatures. Sadly, these beautiful giant birds are considered to be vulnerable in the wild today. And sadly, in South Africa, these guys are actually considered to be endangered. This classification is pretty heavily tied to the fact that they have a really low reproductive rate, meaning that their fecundity, which is a scientific word, by the way, don't laugh at it, is low. If you have a low fecundity, low reproductive rate, if they're dying and their death basically outpaces their reproduction, you see a decline in species, which is obviously what you see with all species, but it's really what we're seeing right here is they have a really low reproductive rate. So as they go down, they can't keep up with it. So conservation efforts are in place to hopefully bring this bird back out of endangered and out of eventually vulnerable status to be not at all threatened in the wild. What threatens this glorious bird is, you guessed it, habitat loss. Primarily, at least. Unsustainable agriculture, deforestation, electrocution from power lines, accidental poisoning, and persecution, and hunting, all have led to this beautiful creature, honestly, slowly declining in the world today. Thankfully, we have zoos like this that are actually working with these beautiful birds, the hornbills, to bring them back. Ladies and gentlemen, the southern ground hornbill. As always, guys, keep them real, keep them wild, and I'll see you guys in my next videos and adventures here on Real Wild Adventure. Hit the follow button, guys, please. Drake, please collab.